another episode of More or Less with Jess. Today I am joined by Vaultboy.
Hello.
Thanks for being here.
Nice. Thanks for having me. Yeah.
Would you please introduce yourself to the humans?
Yes. Where should I look?
Wherever you want to look. People are listening too.
Up the sky, yeah. Yeah, for people listening, I'm looking at the sky. My name is Vaultboy. It's my artist name. My name's Jeremiah as well. People call me both of those things. I'm a singer, songwriter, pop artist, originally from Florida, now based out of Nashville. And yeah, I don't know. That's about it. That's the basics.
All right, we'll take it. We'll take it. We'll get to know you.
Yeah, there you go.
In one word, how are you really feeling in this moment?
Oh my God, that's a good question. Fine. Yeah, you can't give me one. If you're gonna ask for one word,
Everyone overthinks this question.
I know. I was like, that's just, yeah. I feel fine. I don't feel like exceptional. I think it's because I've been with the past like 5 days. I've been like with somebody, and then today I'm alone. I've just been wandering around, so I think I'm feeling a little more calm today.
Okay.
A little less social. I'm perfectly social now for this.
Show up exactly as you are.
No, I'm great. How are you?
I'm
In one word.
I was gonna say good. Total like
Good.
opposite
It's
of what
one
we're
word.
supposed to do on the show.
Yeah.
Today I am feeling a little overwhelmed. There's a lot going on.
I feel overwhelmed most of the time. I think I forget that I'm overwhelmed. I'm so
Exactly. You asked me, and I'm like, actually, I'm like internally, externally, all the things. But happy to be here. I feel like finding whenever I record, I feel very grounded. Like I feel more present, and like everything that's going on outside of me doesn't matter. It's your time to get to know you.
That's great.
But yeah, that's where I'm at for everyone listening and for you.
Incredible.
What is one thing you need more of? One thing you need less of?
Wow.
Could be like a
Good
feeling,
questions.
emotion, thing.
Food.
Yeah,
Okay.
food.
No. But more of. You know, as of late, I would say I could use more nights out doing something. I feel like I
more
spend.
social.
Yeah, I feel like I just I have a tendency to be a little hermit, but I'm an extrovert, so it's very counterintuitive to act like a hermit when you, because then I'm like, oh, I don't feel like going out, and then I'm like, why am I not out? I feel so just low energy because people, you know, they give me energy. What was the other part of that question?
What do you need less of?
What do I need less of? How do I phrase this? I need less. I don't know the word for just you know, being hard on myself, but or you know,
less pressure,
looking down on myself. Yeah, just that kind of thing.
Yeah.
The ways that my brain tells me that I'm not good at stuff. I need less of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Less self-judgment.
Self-judgment, self-deprecation, all that stuff.
Yeah, gotcha.
That's just, I think, what everybody does, but I could use
I think it's a common feeling.
Yeah.
We talk about it here and there on this show. People open up about, especially artists and creatives, when you're being vulnerable. For sure.
The more I've like, since I started like doing this artist project, because I've done music for a long time, but since I started doing this one, and it's kind of the first time I've ever really been tapped into like the music industry at all, and just it's kind of across the board.
Yeah.
How everybody's just. It's funny. I was talking to a while ago this artist who's like really, to me he's massive. Like tours all over the world, sells out ginormous shows, and he just doesn't feel like he's like successful or like doing enough. And I'm like, you are so far. I was like, you're already gonna be like, if you just want to be an artist forever, you will be. But it's so funny because the grass is always greener, and there's always a new peak to hit, no matter who you are.
100%.
Yeah.
And it makes you realize that you don't really ever know how someone else is feeling. Even if it looks like they have it all, they may not feel like they have it all.
Us artists are good at lying, you know, just for the camera.
You know, you can also tell the narrative that you want to tell.
Well, you know, I think people like just generally, not just artists, but like everybody just they don't want other people to think they're not okay, because they don't want other people to feel like responsible for that. And I think for artists, especially if you like communicate like with fans and stuff that like you're not doing well, there's like so many things that go along with that. And like maybe you don't want people to know that you're not doing well because you'd rather just figure it out, because you know, then there's like a parasocial element where like everybody's like checking on you, but you don't feel connected to any of them. that are checking on you because they don't know you. It's just, yeah, it's confusing.
Yeah, it's interesting you bring that up because it's like admitting that you're not okay to yourself is one thing. Then it's another thing to admit it to the people in your close circle, your support system. And then it's a whole other layer when you throw in thousands of people on the internet that connect with you because of your career and your job and your passion.
Yeah. And who can love the death out of you, but just don't really know you. But you know, it's like, it feels really good to like be like if you post on your story, like, oh, hey, I'm sad right now, just whatever. And then people are like, oh my God, take all the time you need. Like, you know, do like, we love you. All that kind of thing is great. But it's also it's just like, it's not that every single person that says something kind isn't just being kind. It's just that it feels so disconnected. Like it's almost like you get like a false sense of like a false like there's like a positive feeling you get when someone's encouraging you, and it's almost like has a little less substance to it because they don't know you. You're like, oh well, of course anyone would say that.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's meaningless. The validation isn't like the same. Not that like validation externally is like great because it doesn't last very long, but
they're also not sitting physically next to you. They don't know the ins and outs of what you're actually going through.
For sure.
So they're offering support, but I can understand that in some ways it might fall short just in the nature of.
And it's so interpersonal, and like it's not like relevant that it's anybody else saying it. It's just like how the person. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I've talked to so many artists that have shared their feelings on parasocial feelings and the internet. But I'm curious, with that being said too, would you say the same thing about like praise on the internet? Like when you get a shit ton of likes or comments of, you know, you're amazing, this is wonderful. Like, does that also feel like you're not being surrounded with a warm hug?
Yeah. It feels incredible for anything to do well on the internet. It feels so good. It doesn't even matter if it's music. If you don't even have like a specific thing that you do, just if people are paying attention to you, it just feels good. But
little dopamine hit.
Yeah, but it's like, I feel like a common thread for a lot of people is that most of the time the things you want to really land don't, and the things that you don't care about do. So you find yourself like having trouble staying connected to the things that people are praising you for. But regardless, even when it is something that you care about, like if I have a song I really love, it's really meaningful, specifically this song, and then it's, you know, it comes out and everybody really likes it, responds to it, feels really good. But it's just the same thing. It's like not really ever enough, but it's because it's not supposed to be, you know? I don't really, I've said this a lot to like friends in conversation, which is kind of a silly thing to say considering my line of work as an artist, but I just don't think really people are made to be famous. It's just, I don't think people are made to have, like if I have a post that has like 1 million views, that's 1 million people have seen me. That shouldn't happen in your life, let alone like every day you post a video or something. And obviously it's amazing, and it's just like the way of the world. It's how there's a lot of people on earth, and if you want to, get your music out there, if you have something to say, like, you have to, post on the internet, and you want to have millions of people do it. But it's also at the same time, it's just kind of messes with your brain, I think.
Yeah.
And I think that's obviously why suicide rates and stuff like that get really, really, really high. The more famous you are, like, and mental health and all that. You hear from like major celebrities, which I don't consider myself at all. Like I just feel like I'm just sitting kind of just like close to the stage. I don't ever feel like I'm really the guy who's always on the stage, but it's just like, it doesn't really matter at what level. I think the more people start to know who you are for something that you do, you start to kind of balance where your worth is, and is it in what I'm doing, or is it just because I'm a person who has like value because I'm a human? It gets very complex. Yeah.
But people connect with you regardless if you're a stadium artist or playing small rooms or just posting on the internet. Your advocacy and openness can reach someone who really needs it. That one person out of the 1 million that saw your face. And that has to feel somewhat powerful, but also a little unfathomable if you've never met that person.
Yeah, that's probably, I would say, the thing out of anything that anybody can tell me, that's both the most like meaningful, that like like one of my songs like help them, like it's also to a degree the like one of the harder things to hear, I think, because like I've had people tell me that like, but when people say like the words like "you saved my life," people have said that to me in person at shows. I've seen comments that say that, like people will say like this song saved me and stuff like that. That's just like really hard. Even if like you write a song that you hope has that effect, it's a lot of pressure to feel like you have that amount of power. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a big, I take it as like a responsibility that I have to like,
You apply it to you then.
yeah, I don't know. It's just the heaviest thing that like people can say to an artist.
I'm so glad you brought this up because we'll have a little story time. So when I was
Okay.
younger, I still am a massive fan of this one artist, and I had a meet and greet one day, and I shared that. I said, your music saved my life. And I look back on little like 15, 16-year-old me that said that, and how I do this for a living. I don't think I would ever say that to them again.
Yeah.
Because I now understand, and granted, I wasn't thinking about the other person in this scenario. I have no idea what that artist was going through that day, that month, that week, how they were feeling in their own mental health. I have no idea. And my words could have sent them into that spiral internally of like, what do you mean? Like, no, like I don't know you. I just met you. Like it is kind of strange. But I felt so deeply connected to the music, and I still stand by that. It was amazing. It's amazing music that impacted my life. But ultimately, I saved my own damn life. And it was that music that helped me through. Yeah. But I totally understand now being on the other side. And I wonder, like with artists, and that's why I love doing this, to talk about these things, because it is a lot when someone opens up and shares that to you.
Like I almost, when someone says that, it's hard to know what to say. I'm like, I'm so glad. Like, but like that, I'm so glad almost.
You're like, is that enough?
It almost, what it means is I'm so glad that you're still here. But it's almost like I have a lot of trouble taking responsibility. Like, but I like how you said that. You're like, ultimately, I saved my life. I'm like, yeah, I think that granted, especially when you're young and, you're going through whatever and it just feels it's too much. Music is, for me as well, like that's the thing that really does get you through. But it's just like, at the end of the day, what you're doing is using that music as a tool to like help you regulate what you're going through and your emotions and stuff. And people don't give themselves enough credit, which is actually, I think, probably a problem, because I think making sure that like whenever you do have a really big win, like mentally or whatever, emotionally, that giving credit to somewhere else or someone else will leave you to go through something else and then not feel like you can do anything about it. Not that like obviously so much of like emotions and things like depression, anxiety are often really out of our control, like about when they happen and how they happen. But in terms of like the things that an individual going through something like that does, and one of those things being like listening to music, they're using the music to help themselves. Yeah. And the artist is just kind of the artist is, at the end of the day, like when we make a song, we like half the time we just kind of make it and then we're like, I think it's good. And then sometimes we're like, oh my God, it's so good. And then sometimes we're like, I don't know. And then the label's like, put it out. And you're like, okay. And then somebody says something about it and you're like, I didn't know that this song could even mean that much to anybody. You know what I mean? I would never tell somebody, hey, don't say that type of thing to me. Because again, and especially when somebody has gone through something really tough and my music's helped them telling me that is really meaningful. Yeah. But it's just like, it's like a really weird thing to grapple with.
Yeah. It seems like it's unimaginable in a way. And you think about, fans or even artists that get lyrics tattooed on them, and songs hold such a big personal meaning that it's fascinating to me to know that an artist might have written a song in their bedroom that took them all of 30 minutes that then goes out in the world and impacts so many people that then people feel compelled to get a tattoo on them. It's 100%. Wild. And it kind of goes back to your point earlier, like, are humans meant to be famous, or like, are we meant to take in this information? It's pretty amazing when you look at it from that side of one bout of creativity that an artist had is like a little seed, and then it spreads to so many people that they have their own interpretations of it.
Yeah, the tattoo thing is crazy. I've had a bunch of fans get tattoos. Some I've handwritten at shows and like drawn. And every time they do, they'll be like, "This is my favorite tattoo," and I'm like, "I'm glad." I have bad handwriting though. Some people, there's this one girl who got a tattoo in. She lives in Texas. I saw her last year in Austin, and she got the album I released last year has like these colors on it, and she got some flower petals with the colors as the colors of the petals. Oh, cool. So like a really like cool, very creative tattoo. Yeah. She got it, and I was literally like, I'm jealous of your tattoo. I'm still trying to figure out how to get a tattoo in like honor of that, my debut album. Yeah. And I'm like, damn, she just did a really good one though. I'm like, I gotta, you know what I mean? So like those I love, but at the end of the day too, like I just started getting tattoos last year. I have like a bunch of random ones on my arm. And now that I'm getting more, I'm like, you know what? Not that I think that there's specifically like a song or an artist that I would want to get something tattooed, because there might be, there might not, I don't know. But like, I also think I understand it more now. Like being like, I already have a bunch of tattoos. That would be a great. What a fun story to look back at. This like person this artist I listened to when I was younger. Like I personally can't imagine, unless like the artist ends up being like hated later on in life. Fingers crossed, I'll never be hated. I try my best, but like get canceled for whatever. I don't know. I try to not take part in things that are canceling. So, but. Yeah, I just think like that would be like a pretty positive thing. But it is cool, like some of the more meaningful lyrics and stuff like that people get tattooed, or it's interesting what they like want. And anytime they're like, draw me a tattoo, I'm like, there's so many tattoos I will never draw. If somebody asked. And then most of them are like, sweeter lyrics or more, hopeful lyrics. Like, so I'm like, this could be a good tattoo. Even if people were like, it's like, okay, it looks it's like handwriting, but like it's a meaningful sentence.
It's meaningful to them. Yeah.
You mentioned like, this artist just writes a song in their bedroom. That kind of like is what happened for my song, Everything Sucks. Yeah. Because I wrote it, I was posting on TikTok as doing like a songwriting challenge. I was taking a shower trying to figure out, I wasn't taking a shower to figure out what I was writing, but I was in the shower and I was like, what am I going to write? And I just started singing it. Like, I just kind of was like, what if, it's like, I need to make like someone was like, write a happy song. I was like, I need to like flip that somehow. And like, in like a sarcastic, really happy song kind of way. And so I was just like, everything sucks. Just kidding. Everything is great. No, really, it was COVID. Like, it just felt so like, I know it's like, obviously people want happy songs when things are bad, but for me, I was just like, how could I do that? Why would I write a time like that? Yeah, it just felt wrong. So that whole song just started as this like very, very sarcastic kind of joke that was like, write a happy song? Okay. Like so sassy in that. And it just exploded. It just took over the internet in like 2021. It just like, unbeknownst to me and my team, it just happened. We weren't going to put it out. And then it just like, all of a sudden the sound on TikTok just started exploding. Yeah. And it was just like, all right, well, I guess I should finish the song and make it like a good song. Because like, even if it started this way for me, how people responded to it
clearly shows that it connected.
Yeah, I think people at the time specifically, like I think if I released that song today, it might do well, but I don't think it would nearly do as well.
You
because
think so? Because of the times.
I think it was extremely, like, I don't want to say historically, it hasn't been that long, but like it was like historically relevant at the time. It was just like a song that it was just kind of like, it made light of the fact that things are obviously not good right now. And I don't know, people just connect. People like literally like the comments on that video for this song that started as such a joke for me are so many people are like, literally, this got me through COVID. And I'm like, cool. Like,
Just goes to show, all great ideas come from the shower. I'll stand by that. Yeah. Some of my greatest creative ideas have happened while I'm in the shower.
I'm still trying to write another shower hit. I'm still.
And now you're gonna chase the rest.
Every shower you hear me singing, you're like, he's trying. No, I need to write another shower song. Well, I think like writing a song that is so simple that you can remember it by the time you get out of the shower and not have to write it down.
Yes. It's like when you have a dream that you want to remember and then you wake up and you're
Yeah.
like, what the heck? I remember it was super vivid and intense, but now I can't remember anything.
Exactly. I literally got out of the shower and I grabbed my phone and I voice memoed it while the shower was still going.
Yeah,
I wasn't done showering, but I was like, I will not forget. So like I'd come up with a whole verse and I just turned on the recorder. I still have the recording on my voice memos.
You should release that.
I
Like
should.
exclusive.
Yeah, just that. It's so like, it's like I'm like mumbling to it while the shower is going. Yeah, no, it's just, it's crazy.
Thinking of Everything Sucks and so forth. I feel like the internet has crowned you as like sad boy era type music. Do you feel like pressure around that?
To be honest, and it's so funny because I'm writing like way more like happier, positive,
Yeah, like how
love
does that
songs
feel?
now. But I kind of like it. Like I like sad songs.
Yeah.
I've been like, I was such a little like sad. I don't want to use the word loser, but like because not that I was like a loser in school, but like when I was in high school, I would just remember listening to like the saddest songs of all my favorite bands and just being like, my life is so miserable. And then just having like the best life at the same, like a perfectly normal like, high school experience. I had like a pretty great support system at home. I had good friends. And then just listening to these songs, like, oh my God, my life is so hard. And it's just obviously it's just like being 16, but yeah. Ever since then, I've just loved, and I've been writing songs since I was really young. I just love writing sad songs. I just like connecting, and I think intellectualizing sad emotions a lot. I really do like happy songs. They used to be a lot harder for me to write. Now I really enjoy writing love songs, but I'm also looking for love. So, so I write a lot. But all my love songs, I feel like most of them are like, this could be love, right? and then followed by a it wasn't song. Yeah, no, but I do like I love. I don't care if people associate me with being just writing sad songs, and I get the fans that are like, make more happy songs, but like at the end of the day, when I release sad songs, people love them. Even when they're not sad, they're like, catch me being in a healthy relationship crying about this like breakup song. You know what I mean? I get those comments a lot. And
you're doing something right, obviously.
Yeah. And I mean, listen, if you're happy and having a good time, feel free to listen to happy music or balance your life out. Listen to a sad song. You know?
I agree. I mean, we can have both.
Yeah. It's all meaningful. You can't have one without the other.
Yeah. I was just curious, like from an identity perspective.
Yeah.
Like when you're labeled as something, like can you branch out? Yes, you can write happy songs, but it's like
the good thing is Everything Sucks is like it's kind of like a dark subject matter, very positive song. So while I was have been deemed sad song person, I am also like a lot of my bigger songs have been like pretty positive or pretty happy. And or happy sounding, happy adjacent. It's just it's interesting. But like when I was first starting, like before Everything Sucks, that was the thing. Like I had only put I only been posting for a few months, but everything that I had put up was all very sad. It was like only sad. So and that was like, I was like, I don't want to make sad music. I'm not interested in it. That doesn't sound fun to me. And eventually I warmed up and I had wrote some songs. Like I have a song called Rocket Science that's just like a really heartfelt like crush song kind of thing. And it's done. It's like one of my bigger songs over the course of the last like 4 or 5 years or however long it's been. 5 years.
2020 was 5 years ago, guys.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. It was March of 2020 that I was like, I'm gonna do this artist project called vaultboy, and I didn't start posting till 2021. This is so off topic. It's so funny to me that I get so many comments about Everything Sucks, and they're like 2020 vibes, and I'm like, that song didn't exist until 2021. And I've never corrected somebody. They're like, I've been listening to you since 2020. I'm like, no,
you haven't.
And I've never corrected anybody
until right now.
But it's so funny. People like mentally though, they associate it with the year before. Yeah. That's how I know it was a COVID song.
Like I've been a fan of you for 5 years.
Yeah, and I'm like, kind of. Like,
but it is true. 2020 and 2021, maybe even 2022.
It's all
blurred into one.
I saw a TikTok that was like, it was like 2019, and then it was like Blink, and it was 2020, and then it was a Blink 2024. It was like last year, because like the years they just have.
In the words of Smash Mouth, the years start coming and they don't.
And they don't stop going, and they don't stop going.
It's I'm watching a show right now, The Pit on HBO. It's really good. Remy just gasped.
Okay, I haven't heard of it.
So good. There's actually a billboard outside as I was walking.
Really?
But it's basically a show. It takes place over the course of one ER shift. So from like 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. It's like an all day shift in the ER. And it's basically like a very accurate representation of what it's like to be an ER doctor. And he's just weaving through the nurses, the staff, everyone's going through their own shit. They keep doing flashbacks to, I won't spoil it for anyone watching, but there's another doctor that this doctor reported to during COVID. So you see them in the scrubs and like there's flashbacks and there's trauma. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, it's wild that TV shows are now depicting COVID.
But how all the TV shows that were on air at the time adapted the shows to include COVID, like, and it's as weird. If COVID was happening in the show too.
It's weird.
Yeah, it's really strange.
Because it doesn't feel that long ago, but yet it was 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And it still feels like it happened yesterday. So it's weird to now be watching TV and like seeing it depicted in shows and you're like, wow, I don't think that was yesterday.
Yeah, and now it's just like one of the flus. So you can people still get, like, I had a friend a musician who's had a songwriting session last week and it got canceled because one of the people that lived in the house got COVID. It's like it's just like a normal thing, and it's not as big of a deal now, and you know the mortality rate is really low, blah blah blah. But it's so interesting how it became in a lot of ways. I think the way that the world sees life now is life before COVID.
I absolutely do.
After COVID.
BC used to be before Christ. Yeah. And to me, it's now like
I think
BC
it's time we
COVID.
reset the years, guys, and go to, it was back to zero and it was 2020. That's the new zero and it's AC after COVID. Yeah.
And I know there's been studies around it, but I feel trippy sometimes because I feel like I have memory loss like from that time period.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we're really talking about that yet, but I'll talk about it. I feel like I don't remember anything that happened. Like I remember, but I don't. And there's moments in my life that I don't feel like I have a firm grasp on from 2020 to 2022 or even maybe 2023. Yeah. And it feels strange.
I feel both fortunate. No, it's mostly fortunate, but like I started because my vaultboy was basically this like COVID baby. It was like the thing. It was literally the week that the world shut down was the week I had like conceptualized doing this artist project.
Bold choice.
Yeah, and I was like so, like I just had started writing these songs that like I was like, man, I think I want to do something. Like I want to do another artist project. I had kind of like given up doing artist stuff as, you know, like I've been doing music my whole life and it just like hadn't worked for a while. And I was just like, this is making me anxious. I don't need to do this. And then I decided to do it right then and there. And I had never done anything in pop. And that was like such a crazy thing to say out loud to myself. I was like, I think I want to be a pop artist. That was your first
bridge into pop?
Yeah, like that. So I had a friend that was writing some songs for someone, and they were kind of pop stuff. And he was like, "Hey, do you want to try writing with me?" And I was like, "Sure."
Yeah.
Because I had been, writing my whole life, but just usually alone. And then, I wrote a song. And I was like, "This could be. Do I want? I don't think I want someone else to sing this. I think I want to sing it." And that song actually never came out. I have a demo of it on YouTube. It's called Baby, I Don't Want to Be Alone Anymore. But I wrote that song and I was like, gosh, I think I might try to do an artist thing. But I was like, I told myself, I was like, if I'm going to do it this time, it's going to work. I'm going to do it until it works.
Okay.
I feel like I just manifested it into happening because I got so many things about the music industry revolve around luck. Hard work is so necessary, but when you have luck paired with hard work, that's when really, I think magic can happen. And like Everything Sucks to me was that. It was like, I didn't just like write Everything Sucks all of a sudden and then it exploded. I've been writing songs, since I was like in middle school. And now, I have this song and it's taking off. It's like, okay, well,
that was the door that opened.
Yeah, exactly. And it was not even close to the song that I wanted to necessarily be the song that I enter into the, to this career, to this artist project, like with, and have that be the thing that represents me. But that's what it became.
Right.
And at the end of the day, I started I was like, I don't know if I want this to be the thing that people know me for, like going out the gates. But then I was like, why not? I was like, people like it. And it's a very bold personality song. You know what I mean? It's like very like, it's like everything sucks.
Is that why you felt hesitancy on?
Yeah, I think it just felt a little silly to me because I wrote
Yeah.
it being kind of silly, and but the truth is that I kind of had to come to terms with I'm a very silly person. So I was like, if I'm not willing to like release a song that shows that part of myself, I'm not really being too true to myself because I'm really like I love these really emotional songs and I love some of the love songs. Like I liked even songs that aren't specifically about my life. I often am including like the emotions that I feel in circumstances that I've been in to tell the story, you know.
But that's
So
a side of you.
yeah, exactly. And so that's a side of me that was just like worth putting out, you
Right.
know. And I feel like a lot of people, artists, I think in particular, have trouble just kind of showing their personalities and stuff online. It's just kind of hard to do. It's
And
like
you kind of want to be able to control what parts of you put out.
yeah. But I mean, like I'm such a doof. I don't know. Like I'm literally I'm just so I'm such a dummy, and I love a good conversation that's very serious and stuff. But like when I'm just like with like my closest friends, I don't think like we have to. It takes a while to get to a serious sentence. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just we're just joking around. So at the end of the day, I'm really happy that song came out, and I was able to put out so many songs that were more like, you know, a little more meaningful to me. And, you know, a lot of them have done really well. And I don't have no regrets there. Yeah.
So fast forwarding to now,
hmm
um, almost a year ago, you released your album
Mhm.
and then toured.
Mhm.
And now this year you're rolling out a handful of, are we calling them singles or are we just kind of like throwing
Yes.
them out?
Singles. Well, we're leading up to something with it, but it's not an album, but we're leading up to something. And so yeah, I started putting out singles. I'm newly independent. Which is
Exciting.
cool.
How are you feeling about that?
I'm feeling great. I'm feeling great about it. Most people don't really know too much about kind of how the industry works. I think in terms of like they hear like a record deal and a label, and for people that don't, when you're independent, you just don't have a record label. You just put everything out yourself. So I have a company that I basically give my music to, and then they send it to places. But it's great because I'm now in a position where I can make whatever I want to make, and my team is very supportive of whatever I want to make, and you know, whatever my vision is, that's the end of the line. I don't have to think about, oh, but what about what this person thinks? Oh, what do they think? Do they think this could be a smart business thing? It's just like I just want to make music and release the music that I want to make and tell the stories I want to tell. So yeah, the music that I'm making right now, I just put out 2 songs this year. Got another one. I have no idea when this is coming out, but the song called Fade Away. And yeah, that's one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite songs that I've made in a long time. It's sort of like a follow up to a song I have called "I Wish You Knew," which is they're both mental health songs.
Mhm.
And "I Wish You Knew" I wrote when I was in a really really low point. I felt super out of control of my life and my career, and I just like my confidence was at the floor. And yeah, I sat down in my studio and I just started writing that song, and it was just the words I needed to hear. When I explain what that song is at shows and stuff, I tell people like I wrote this as a letter to myself, and that's true. And that song is really really meaningful, and I wrote it by myself and I produced it by myself. So that was kind of like my first, I think, like ultra personal, like, you know, this is a very 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 close look into me and like what I think about myself and, you know, who I am. And now I've got this new song, which I've been in my ups and downs as of late. The day that I wrote this song, I wasn't particularly low, but I felt like I wanted to have another song where I could like talk. You know, I wanted to do another song about mental health, but I really don't like to just like force writing that type of song.
Yeah.
I have this like superstition. I'm not really superstitious, but I have this superstition that if I write something that doesn't happen, I am willing it into existence. I like it, like I've had songs. I had a song that I released called "Feel Anything" early in my career. That's like I want a heartbreak, I want it to hurt, call her back and make everything worse. Got my heart
Like
absolutely
speaking
got my heart
words.
smashed to pieces the year later. Or no,
No.
not even the year later, like a few months later. Yeah, so it's just a thing that I feel like I kind of I'm somehow when I release a song, I'm creating that story somewhere, mostly in my life. So anyway, I wanted to make another song, but I didn't want to force it. But we ended up writing this song called Fade Away, and it's really, really good. It's about less so, I think, just in particular, like the word, depression or anxiety, but more so like the lyrics of the chorus are, "You've been way too hard on yourself lately," and that's something I think I've been struggling with the past like year or so. Something I talk about in therapy.
And it's how you start this convo.
Yeah, I know. I feel like I'm in therapy. I had to skip it this week, so this will do. No, but yeah, it's like it's a song about in the same way as I wish, a letter to myself, just being like, look, like you're kind of like playing with fire when all you're doing is being hard on yourself, when you're not like prioritizing the fact that you're doing the best you can. Because I think people forget that, and they don't like to, and you say that you're like, oh, you're doing the best you can, buddy. And like, I know, it's whatever. But like, really, like that actually is enough that you don't, I beat myself up so much about everything that has to do with my career and a lot of things in my personal life as well. And it's just like so like needless. It's just like I create my own spirals, So the song, it's a hopeful song. And in the bridge of the song, I say, I know you're doing your best. I love you to death, but that pain in your head, I promise it ends. And it's just like that reminder that I need to hear, that those type of words almost exactly are the words that my best friends tell me. I just, that's the kind of song I want people to hear, because that's the song kind of thing that if there was ever a song where somebody's like, oh my God, this song helped me so much, I'd love for it to be a song like this, because it's the kind of song that writing it helps me, and listening to it reminds me that like, take it easy, man. You're going a little too hard there. You're going a little too hard on yourself, and yeah, so I hope it lands that way. But I think it will. When I listen to it, it's like the most special song to me.
It's a really awesome song.
Thank you.
Super good.
Yeah.
Did you do production yourself on that?
No. Producer named Mickey Brandolino.
Shout out to Mickey.
Yeah. Mickey.
Sounds amazing.
Oh,
I mean, you sound
amazing,
incredible. But the first, I was like, oh my God.
No, he's amazing. And I did like a little bit of production stuff on it, but for the most part, he did it all, and he's so good. I love him.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, lyrically, it's great. Sonically, it's fantastic. I'm excited to see how people react and connect with it.
Thank you.
Similarly to what we were talking about earlier, it's like music and a song like that can serve as that external healing. Like it serves as that reminder. It serves as that coping skill. That it may not necessarily be the thing that pulls you out, but it can be the thing that helps.
Sometimes you just need a little reminder.
Yeah.
And sometimes I was listening to some music today, and the music is such a powerful thing. You can listen to it passively, and it can dictate how you feel. You can listen to words, hear them, not really process them, and them have an effect on your like subconscious.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a powerful thing. And I just want to make sure that like, as much as I love a good sad song and like kind of really trying to like tell a story about how like, someone is heartbroken, or even telling a story about how someone's falling in love, as much as I love that kind of stuff, and I'm never going to stop writing songs about both of those things, I also really want to make sure that I am occasionally kind of like emotionally laying down the law and just being like, take it easy, because that's what I need to hear. So those are the songs that when I feel like I need to hear them, I just end up writing them. There's another song that I have that it wasn't really a letter to myself, but it was another song I wrote kind of in that vein. It was on the album. It's called Everything's Falling Apart Again, which is obviously it's
title says
I'm very direct with my titles. And that one was just like, I just felt like crazy. I don't know a better word to say. I just kind of felt like I was in a reality that other people weren't in, and not in a super weird meta way, like I'm in a different dimension. Just like
it was disconnected.
I'm very disconnected. That's the word. And I don't know. I really like talking about that kind of thing. Not everybody resonates with that. Not everybody really wants to listen to that. But that's one of the things that I really love writing about. Yeah, it's just like that place of discomfort in life in general.
And I think you make it okay and safer than other people to open up, which I think is really powerful. And it might not always feel that way, and it might feel really trippy.
Yeah.
But I feel that your music and just even the fact that you're saying now, you know, it's meaningful to me to put this stuff out there for people. Like that hits for people. People need that, especially, you know, we were joking before, but the world is crazy right now.
Yeah.
And music can serve as a vehicle to really help us and change how we're feeling. And, you know, I respect you so much as a person, but also a musician, that you're able to do that for people.
I appreciate, you know, it's, I really like, I almost struggle with the notion that like my job is to like help people with music, because when you're so close to writing music, it just feels like my job is just to like make things that are good. And artists, generally speaking, I think are constantly battling what's good.
What is good?
What am I do right? What am I? Is it good? I'm like, sure, it's like a meaningful conversation, but is it even worth listening to? You know, so it's. I appreciate you saying that. It's very kind. But yeah, it's weird. It's almost like I don't even feel like that's even what I do. I don't feel like I'm actively in a job that helps people. I feel like I'm in a job that does that indirectly, while I'm just like processing things for the world.
And I think that's, you know, we all get in our own heads, and I think that's probably a product of you being in your own head.
Definitely.
Because if you took a bird's eye view, if you zoomed out, that's what's happening. Yeah,
the effect, that's what it is the effect is it's almost like detached.
Yep.
That's actually, that's something that I was talking with a producer friend of mine, one of the ones I worked on the album with, and he was talking about how he was like, one of the things he was working on was trying to remove the effect of things from the action of doing things. And what he meant by that in the context of music was like, make stuff you like and just, and then don't think too much about what it's going to do.
Removing the outcome, the result.
It just like do it because you love it. Because then it's less about, will this perform on TikTok? Will the labels like this? You know, what are my fans gonna think? And it's more just like you. And when I started this project, I told myself, I was like, I need to be the judge of like what is good, or else it's not gonna end up being me. That it may be great, but it's not gonna necessarily be me. I need to have my imprint. If it's my music, I want to have my, you know, some semblance of me.
100%.
That's like undeniably on it.
And I think, you know, similar to what you were sharing about major labels, and not everyone knows the inner workings of this crazy industry, but it's, if an artist gives away any semblance of that power creatively, where someone else gets to dictate what is good, what is bad, then it's not really about you anymore. It becomes more about, and it's not, we are in a business. It's a business. Yeah. But it has to be you. Otherwise, it's not fun anymore.
Totally. And a lot of artists don't write their own music. Like I write everything I do, like with people a lot of the time, and sometimes alone. But a lot of people, you know, they don't write their own thing, and everything is kind of like, you know, they still have a say. If they don't want to put it out, they just won't.
Yeah.
Like, but like, then it's like, well, somebody wrote it. And somebody cared a lot. So I feel like there's still meaning in a lot of the music that people listen to, even if their favorite artist doesn't write it. And I don't want to like because I would never want people to be like, oh, I write my own music, so I'm a good artist. No. But like, for me personally, like I just need to have.
It's important to feel connected.
Yeah, that's like one of the few ways where I'm like, I can't sell out that part of me. I need to be creating what I'm doing. I need to be in the driver's seat some way or another, or else it's just I'm gonna have trouble really caring, I think, about it.
Yeah.
Because like I like a lot of songs, but if I am not connected to them, I'm not gonna die for that song.
And that would be a lot more work to then have to fake it to everyone else that you actually do care about it.
And there's been some songs that I've put out, and I wonder if my fans could guess actually, but there's a lot of songs. There's like a small handful of songs that I've put out that like I felt a little pressured to put out, and maybe I liked them at some point. And it's not, I actually don't like hate anything that I've put out, but there's some songs that I just like haven't cared as much about, you know, and I have to kind of find ways to really like them. So I wonder if that's a guess, but at the end of the day, like I wrote those too. Being an artist is funny because you just start listening to yourself constantly. At the end of the day, not even yourself is going to love everything you make and say. And that's actually true with most of the songs that people make. Like any artist that writes their own music, the songs you hear are like less than a quarter of the songs they make.
Yeah.
and most of them are bad. And that's not me saying that other artists are bad. That's just me saying that's
just the reality.
That's the reality of it. Yeah. Sometimes it's more like some. This is just so random. I just heard this as an example for a big artist, but Imagine Dragons, they do all their own stuff. Dan Reynolds writes his own stuff, and I think for one of their albums, they wrote legitimately like 500 or more songs for like a 12-song album.
Yeah.
That I would explode. And Ed Sheeran's like that. Ed Sheeran will sit down and write 8 songs in a day, and they'll all be good. One may be great, but they'll all be good. The amount of songs that don't come out, people can't fathom, that are like good songs.
I feel like a songwriter or an artist's voice memos must be crazy. I mean, you were talking about the one.
That's like, I feel like that's the diary of an artist.
Literally.
And if you don't have one, and I don't, but like that's because there's just the worst sounding things that like turn into the most beautiful things in voice memos. And when you're sitting in like a songwriting session with somebody and you're writing, you're like, oh, that's a good idea. And then you're like, da 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 da.
And mumble jumble.
Yeah. And then you go back and listen to that, and you're like, well, I just wanted it to remind me of what I needed to do. I didn't want it to be good. So like you would never show anybody those things. I have some that are like, I really like, they're like cool. Cause one, I have a song on the album called This Is Heaven, This Is Hell. And I have a voice memo from, I don't know if it was the night before or like a couple days before, but I was going into a session with a good friend of mine and someone I didn't know, and I was just like, we need to write to this melody. And I had this melody, half asleep, thinking of it in my brain, half asleep, 2 a.m. I like pull myself from like almost falling asleep and voice memo this melody, because I was like, this melody is good. I know it's good. And if I had fallen asleep, it would have gone away forever. I have ADHD. I will never remember something. I won't remember it 5 minutes later. So I voice memoed it, and we wrote the song, and I made the album. And it's called This Is Heaven, This Is Hell. There's like the melody of the chorus. I just like, it just came to me.
It's crazy. That's subconscious moments.
Yeah. I wasn't even in the shower for that one. Yeah.
I want to close on a little bit of a accountability check-in. What is one thing you've done either today or this week to take care of your mental health? Noting that you've been traveling in New York, not in your own.
Yeah, because I feel like I mentioned this before we were the podcast, but I spent the last like 4 days with my mom here in New York, and so that's just been really special. But let me think about just before that. Exercise. Okay. And therapy.
Nice. 2.
I've been doing those 2 things. They're helpful.
Those are 2 great things.
Yeah.
100%. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for spending time. Y'all can follow vaultboy on Instagram, on all the things.
Probably not worth it, but yeah.
On all the things, and stay tuned for, it sounds like you got a couple things up your sleeve this year.
Yeah. Some fun stuff coming. So yeah.
Amazing.
Cool.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
That's a wrap, y'all.